Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, May 22nd, 2017. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. A large cross-section of the Vincentian community, including family, friends and colleagues of slain brothers, PC 400 Danroy Cozier and his younger brother Nicholas Cozier, attended their funeral service on Sunday, May 21st at the Victoria Park. The bodies of the Cozier brothers were found just after midday on Thursday, May 4th at Sign Hill Bay. An autopsy report stated that they died as a result of gunshot wounds to the head. The rank and file of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force colored the grounds at Victoria Park as hundreds paid their respect to their fallen colleague and his brother. Overwhelmed with emotion, relatives and friends spoke highly of the lives of the Cozier brothers. Nalisha Miller tells us more in this report.
The celebration of the lives of Police Constable 400 Danroy Cozier and his brother Nicholas Cozier was bittersweet as many gathered on Sunday, May 21st at the Victoria Park to pay their final respect to the brothers who were gunned down and found on Thursday, May 4th, 2017. Their bodies were discovered at the Sign Hill Bay. The rank and file of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force were also out in their numbers to pay their respect to their fallen colleague and his younger brother. Paying tribute was the force's top cop, Commissioner Acting Reynald Hadaway, who praised the deceased Police Constable 400 Cozier for his infectious personality.
It is said that upon commencing his initial training at the Old Montrose Police Training School, that PC Cozier brought a jovial attitude to the organization, which influenced everyone who came into contact with him. However, when it came to his work, he was a very serious and passionate individual. He performed his duties with pride and integrity. Oftentimes, in order to fulfill his responsibilities as a police officer, he will sacrifice his leave just to ensure that he completes his assignment on time.
Commissioner Hadaway said that the force lost a devoted soldier who constantly went above and beyond the call of duty.
When called for duty, he never frowned or backed down. One inspector recalled a moment when PC Cozier was summoned for duty. PC Cozier indicated at the time that he was not feeling well. However, when the transport was ready to leave for the assignment, PC Cozier was present and boarded the said transport for the duty. I can say that he was a well-mannered and disciplined policeman. He was an exemplary police officer, one who was committed to the task of securing the life and property of Vincentian and visitors alike. He was a bright prospect who had far to go.
The top cop used the opportunity to appeal to Vincentians to take a firmer stance against crime and violence.
It is time that we as Vincentians raise our voices against gun and violence. It is time that we take back our blessed land. No more of our youth's lives should be lost in the blaze of bullets.
Overwhelmed by their emotions, a few of PC 400's Cozier's colleagues highlighted how their lives were impacted by him.
No journey was too far to go, and no duty was too hard for him to perform. There were many times I will be on leave on different issues or challenges arose, and he will call or text to ask my opinion, to which I will not be hesitant to assist.
We standing here knew an adult, a man that was caring, loving, and responsible, always wanting to offer advice, always at the forefront duty-wise. We had a special friendship, he and I, who would always come in from leave and say, "Oi Matthias, where going? You miss me, babes?" I will respond by saying, "Of course, baby, you know I did." We would then laugh and start our day for duty. It was our special bond, one that I will never forget.
He was always willing to learn, wanting guidance on his case files. And you can never forget, on court days, after sentencing, he would walk over and whisper, "Hit for 6." with a grin on his face. 1 John 1:4-7 says, Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God.
A 19-year-old Nicholas Kosia was also described to be a brilliant young man, full of life and all there was to benefit from it. Reading his eulogy, his cousin Reba Kosia described the 19-year-old as one who valued family above all else.
After completing his secondary education, Nicholas picked up a few odd jobs here or there, trying to find his niche. He wanted to make a name for himself and do right by his parents. He worked briefly as a pizza chef, as a baker with his cousin Makisha, and as a construction worker. He tried to stay busy, always wanting to find things that he found interesting to do, but he never fully got to answer his calling, never got that chance to make his way in this world we call home. His mother, she was his supermom, his father, his confidant. Together, they were his everything, his biggest supporters. Oftentimes, you would hear him say, "Boy, you see my mother and father, I love them more than anything." He was proud of them and wanted them to be proud of him.
Stressing on how much her life and that of her families have been influenced by PC Kosia, in the eulogy, friend and colleague Ophelia Little stressed on how devoted PC Kosia was, noting that it was an admirable trait that everyone loved about him.
At the end of his 5 years at the grammar school, his hard work was rewarded with 8 CXC passes. That very same year, Dan Wright was enrolled into the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College at the Division of Arts, Science and General Studies. He was studious and committed to his studies. He will burn the midnight oil so that he could attain the highest level of education the nation could offer, and that he did. Dan Wright's demeanor was one that captured the hearts of my immediate and extended family members. He became by then, to my 3-month-old daughter, who is now 6 years old, her superhero. Dan Wright made the decision that his life is worth nothing without God. And later in 2012, he became baptized at the Church of God Worldwide Mission at Redemption Shafts. His respect for his authority and colleagues was one that can be echoed throughout the various departments he worked. These include Beaton Patrol, Port, Stubbs, Georgetown, and Mesopotamia, where he was last stationed.
Speaking on the influence of brotherhood, Pastor Terrence Haynes called for the strengthening of family values in the country.
Big brothers are like vaults. You tell them things and it stays there. I understood. I wasn't there, but I am confident these boys try to protect each other. And I want to say we got to stop this prophecy of doom, because friends, many times mothers and fathers are saying when they get 18 you could do what you want, but on day 18 you got to hear me, that is the time bomb. You just started. Once you're under my roof you could be 50. You got to follow the rules. We can't fight carnival that say get on Wasi and Wild for a few days and then people die. We got to work together to lift up values, morals, and standing in this country. We need to stop some of our young boys who are already in school and we see them on the wrong track. We can't let gangsters raise our wayward boys. We gotta take them. It's time we get into schools and make a difference.
The investigation into the killing of the Kosia brothers is still ongoing. However, 3 men have been charged in connections with their death. Ex-police officer Richard Francis of Layou, Kendine Douglas and Shimel Dunbar, both of Rilland Hill. Nolisha Miller, The Evening News.
And the SVG police force has come in for a high praise for the solidarity it has shown to the family of fallen officer PC 400 Danroy Kosia and his brother Nicholas Kosia. The commendation came yesterday from Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves at the funeral service of the slain brothers at the Victoria Park. PM Gonsalves told the gathering that both youngsters were products of a good family setting, which was reflected in their lives, and commended the police force for the solidarity and support it has shown to their families.
It is said that you truly begin to live when you reach the age of 40. These young men did not reach that milestone. But yet, they were real flesh and blood children, sons of father and of mother. They took advantage of a good upbringing and education. One entered the police force, Dan Roy, and I'm very happy to see the sense of solidarity of the police officers for their fallen brother, and it is very commendable, and I want to congratulate them all.
Reminding the family of the promise of resurrection through Jesus Christ, PM Gonsalves said he is confident that the brothers and who they were would live on in the memories of their loved ones, and express his deepest condolences to their families, friends, and colleagues on behalf of his own family and the nation.
But the scars of the glue will remain, and they will remain in our memory, with the hope and the urging that we do better. On behalf of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, on behalf of myself, my family, and I know the cause as well, on behalf of the entire country, I express profound condolences to the family, immediate family and friends of Dan Roy and Nicholas. May their souls rest in peace, and may light perpetual shine upon them. Thank you.
A two-week course on the identification and seizure of digital evidence for members of the Regional Security Services, the RSS, came to a close here on Friday. The training is part of efforts to tackle cybercrime, a growing concern for member states. At Friday's closing ceremony, Assistant Commissioner of Police Frankie Joseph said the use of the internet by criminals continue to pose a challenge for law enforcement authorities here and across the region, hence the importance of the training course.
Today, Caribbean courts have embraced the admissibility of electronic evidence, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not an exception. The introduction of electronic interviewing was a significant milestone for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I want to say here that we were the first country in the Caribbean to introduce that. The recording of caution statements to capture confessions, body languages, and gestures of suspects allowed for transparency in investigations and reduces the accusations of police officers obtaining confession by physical fear and physical force or fear. Moreover, the use of CCTV and retrieving evidence from cell phones and computers continue to show that the criminal justice system continues to amend to complement the change in society and criminal dynamics.
Director of the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the NTRC, Apollo Knights, who delivered the feature address, stated that NTRC is aware of cybercrime and its dangers, and they have been doing their part to tackle the issue.
Cybersecurity is the most critical issue facing the Caribbean region at this time, and it is also a major issue for the world at large. Our country and the region have been embarking on a number of initiatives in ICT over the last 10 years, but nothing is being done of a substantive nature that the NTRS is aware of on the issue either locally or regionally. So that is, we were not really targeting the cybersecurity issues. Antiviruses and similar software cannot stop the real threats that we can face from this issue in the short or medium term. Our country shall not wait until something goes very wrong before we act. It is even worse as we migrate our telecom systems to next generation networks, which has already taken place in SVG at that time, and which will most likely take place in other Caribbean countries thereafter.
Knight said, given the fact that cybercrime is on the rise worldwide, it is important to implement strategies to get it under control.
Cybersecurity needs to be looked at carefully as we develop our ICT industry and we increase the speeds that we access the internet. In this new era, we'll have less physical threats and more cyber threats. While in the past, we will not be looked at as a party that will be involved in physical threats based on our small size. We will be a party in cyber threats from 3 angles. By entities trying to get at developed countries, they'll use us to get to them as a launching pad. By criminal entities trying to obtain resources, financial, from our countries. And by entities trying to reduce our ICT capabilities in a competitive market. I'm sure we are all, so unquote, so I'm sure we are all aware of our recent cybercrime attacks in the region recently. So ladies and gentlemen, it is quite clear that the reason we are all here this morning is of 2 reasons. The internet, one, the internet that has been around for some years and which continues to grow in our country. That's one of the main reasons we're here. And 2, the devices that we are connecting it to the internet.
The training course saw the participation of 18 police officers from St. Lucia, Grenada and host St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Managing Director of the National Commission on Crime Prevention, the NCCP, Nicola Evans, has said the consumption of alcohol among the nation's youth is becoming a big problem. On Sunday's Issue at Hand radio program on WFM, Evans noted that not only is the high consumption of alcohol prevalent during festivities, but it is also leading to crimes such as rape and accidental deaths.
We have recognized that the abuse of alcohol, and especially among our young persons, is not helping our country positively. It is the cause of other criminal acts, and we just saw Dr. Providence making reference to it and also reiterating that there are persons who, because of the abuse of alcohol, would end up becoming rapists or even being the rapee, meaning that the person is raped, whether it is gang or otherwise. If there is a situation of rape, there is going to be other factors that may come out, STDs, HIV, and so on. Last year, we had 65 new cases of HIV. According to PAHO, you need to multiply that by 10. You have 650. One of a minister told me that up to the 1st of May, he had 6 young persons coming to him who have just found out that they are HIV positive. Just for this year, just found out this year. Multiply that by 10 according to PAHO, you're talking about 60. The spill off from the abuse of alcohol is going to cost our country dearly, not only in crime, but in all other facets of life.
Noting that the NCCP has embarked on an awareness drive to further educate the public that it is illegal to sell persons in school uniforms and those under the age of 18 alcohol, Evans said that there is also strong concern that youngsters themselves are not only buying but also selling alcohol.
Throughout the country. Hence is our reason for targeting the country. Yes, on Fridays and during carnival season, more persons see the drinking, wanton drinking of alcohol by younger persons in Kingston, and maybe where you have the community carnival groups. But it is generally throughout the country. We're not just, and I notice you keep saying consumption, but I want to also remind our listeners, it's not just consuming, it's also dispensing.
Right, yeah.
Because too many of our parents, owners of shops, whatever, ice boxes, would allow their children to do the selling, and that's illegal.
The driver, conductor and passengers of a minibus here are counting their lucky stars tonight after the vehicle in which they were traveling to capital Kingston was engulfed by fire moments after they got out. The incident occurred after midday today in the Villa Arnisvale area, destroying the minibus H181 driven by Kingsley Roberts of Byra at the time. According to reports, when it was noticed that something was wrong with the vehicle, everyone on board was asked to exit. Shortly after, the van was engulfed in flames. Members of the SVG fire department came on the scene to put out the fire. There were no reports of injuries. The matter is under investigation. Some 10 physically challenged individuals here, particularly amputees, will be benefiting from prosthetic limbs provided by the German-based non-profit organization Sailing for Handicaps. At a ceremony on Friday, Vice President of the organization, Elena Brambilla, noted that too many amputees worldwide are often deprived of the continuation of living a normal life with an amputated limb, and they're hoping their effort will help make a difference.
We saw that around the world there are a lot of nations where people cannot get the same support from Wojtek. So we decided after our sport career to start our circumnavigation and to give back a little bit of what we got from the life. We were athletes, we were privileged, we could do our job, the job we loved. And yeah, this is the background of our decision to start and to perform this circumnavigation. We have to say that the more we are on the way, the more we found out that this is really a great thing, a great project, helping a lot of people. So what happens, usually Wojtek and me and our small baby, we are sailing around the world, and when we arrive on spot, we have the help for a prosthetician. In this case is Andrea Lennart from Germany, who came here in St. Vincent to help us to build up the prosthetic.
Representatives of the National Insurance Services, NIS, Minerva Glasgow, expressed gratitude for the opportunity to partner with the Sailing for Handicaps organization.
At the NIS, we have embraced every opportunity where we can partner with our stakeholders in alleviating contingencies among our beneficiaries and claimants. We actually signed a memorandum of understanding with the German social accident program concerning providing prostheses for worthy people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a matter of fact, we have a real story of a gentleman who was just 54 years old, an amputee, and because he did not have a prosthesis, he could not find modified work, and as a result died of grief. So we trust that this initiative will help to deal with situations like these.
Physiotherapist at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital, Janelle Balla, said all 10 recipients will be fitted for the prosthetic limbs by this week.
Originally to get 20 candidates, preferably persons who are in relatively good health, young people, younger, so that they can, when fitted with the prosthetic, can return to a productive life, return to work, move around better in their communities and so on. So we found about 18 to 19 persons, and they were screened initially, and 10 persons were chosen. We've already fitted the first 3 on Wednesday, and tomorrow another 3 will be fitted at about 1 o'clock at the hospital. So things are going well so far, and hopefully by the end of next week we will have fitted all 10 patients.
Joan Lane took home the top prize of $3,000 EC along with a trip for 2 to St. Lucia, having won the East Caribbean Group of Companies ECGC Great Mustique Bake-Off competition held on Sunday at the Mustique Community Center. 10 participants took part in the competition, with Lane capturing the overall grand prize, having won the Best Bread and Cake categories. Ronnie Brown came in 2nd place overall. He also placed 2nd in the Best Bread category. 3rd place overall went to Sabrina Marks Decent. Speaking at the prize-giving ceremony, marketing manager at ECGC, Rachel Haslam, said the quality of the products is a testament to the talent found in SVG, and encouraged the participants to use all opportunities to lift the standards of baking in this country. Haslam further encouraged the participants to utilize more local ingredients in their cakes and bread.
And it is really our way of providing support to a new enterprise in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the St. Vincent Chocolate Company. And I would like to encourage the participants on the whole to continue to do so. I think what we saw over the 2 days was the use of a lot of local ingredients to enhance the bread and the cakes. And I implore you to continue to do that. You know, move away from the tinned applesauce and the tinned cherries, etc., and try something local, try a local fruit, and it will go a long way to enhancing your products and making them very specially Caribbean and Vincentian products. I also urge you to continue to raise your game. Seize every opportunity to learn new techniques, try new ideas, and please share your knowledge with the younger generation so that we can continue to raise the standard of baking in SVG.
Also speaking at the ceremony was Simon Humphrey, the Director of Security at the Musty Company, who said he was happy with the quality of products the participants delivered.
Highlight that if you came 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th or 10th, you are all winners, every one of you. Everyone who took part here. And the reason I wanted to do this with Ali and with ECGC is because it highlights the talent, not only on Mystique, but in St. Vincent. It brings us together in partnership, and it's all about Mystique Island for us being an island of hospitality, an island of chefs, producing wonderful food. And if you were a guest on this island and you sampled any one of these creations, you'd have a great holiday, I can tell you that. So thank you to all of you who took part.
Chief Executive Officer at ECGC, Osman Davy, said baking is an important part of the culinary arts and encouraged the participants to use every opportunity to develop their skills.
Today, baking is still regarded as a much sought after skill. It looks at the perfection of great taste, perfect texture, aesthetic value, and interesting flavor combinations, which are considered an integral part to any culinary cuisine. Ladies and gentlemen, and in particular participants, now is a time for focusing, doing the best you can, and learning whatever you can from this exposition. You never know what new opportunities might present themselves. Therefore, be ready to grab it.
Welcome to this evening's Carnival Beat. Miss Jurgens Crystal Oliver regards herself to be friendly and witty, passionate about equal opportunity for young people, particularly in education. Oliver, a national award recipient, is thankful for the opportunity to show her diversity through the Miss SVG pageant. The owner of Olive Art Design, which specializes in bag designs and branding, tells SVG-TV's Nolisha Miller that the pageant is just the beginning of the things she wants to successfully accomplish.
There are no hindrance or barriers for Miss Jurgens Crystal Oliver, as she regards herself fortunate to be participating in the 2017 Miss SVG pageant. The Glen resident tells us about her short and long-term goals, one of which include capturing the coveted Miss SVG 2017 title.
Long term, I hope to pursue a career, get more in-depth in the fashion, design, manufacturing and entrepreneurship industry. Currently, I'm an entrepreneur. I started my business in 2009, and I think that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has a lot of opportunity where fashion and design is concerned, and I want to be able to capitalize on that opportunity.
An entrepreneur in her own right, Oliver elaborated on her journey towards establishing a prosperous career in the fashion industry. And according to her, the Miss SVG pageant is a further stepping stone in building her career. How do you see your involvement in Miss SVG pageant helping you in this regard?
It has given me the opportunity to expand my knowledge. I have also been exposed to different people in similar profession, and it has been an eye-opening experience for me, and I think, well, I'm more comfortable now knowing that I want to pursue that career in fashion design and manufacturing. You know, fashion has its place in our society in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and in the Caribbean we are on the cusp for greatness, and you know, people from the outside internationally are now looking to the Caribbean for inspiration in our vibrant colors. So I think I'm in a good place.
Ms. Jurgens also have high praises to the ECGC's Woman Empowerment Campaign, as she is now advocating on a bigger platform for something she is passionate about.
I have chosen to highlight the negativity that can often be associated with carrying your Afro-textured hair in its natural state. And for a pageant, you know, everybody expects pageants to be swimwear in your appearance, and you have to change to conform to a particular standard. And I'm extremely happy that we have been motivated and empowered to be ourselves and to be comfortable in our skin, in our hair.
Highlighting her patriotism, the face behind Olive Art Designs stated that the 40th anniversary of Vincy Mas should be considered more than just a number.
40 years means a great deal to me. We have come such a long way, and I think we have much further to go. We are, in terms of music, I think we produce some of the best soca and calypso music in the Caribbean. I also think that we have some of the most spectacular costumes, and to look back and to see where we are now, I'm happy to be celebrating 40 years in the Miss SVG pageant as well.
Not one to dwell on regrets, Oliver said her participation in the Miss SVG pageant was not planned, and further spoke with affection about the other contestants. A very confident Mr. again said, come Saturday, June 3rd, patrons should expect a lot of her quirky personality depicted in all 4 categories of the competition. Nolisha Miller for Carnival Beats.
Raga Soca and Soca artists who are interested in participating in this year's national competition, organized by the Carnival Development Corporation, are asked to note that registration forms for the preliminary round are available at the CDC's office. Registration for both competitions closes on Friday, 9th June 2017. The preliminary judging takes place on Monday, the 12th June 2017, with the semi-finals being held on Saturday, 24th June 2017. The CDC says all registration forms must be accompanied by a copy of the song on a CD, which should be ready for airplay. Artists are also reminded that the registration fee of $30 must be paid to the SVGCA Incorporated. Failure to do such would result in the non-judgment of the CD. That's Carnival Beat this evening.